Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Malik, and we got some pretty interesting news that has made the rounds on Grizzlies social medias that we need to address, and I feel like I wouldn't do you all justice if we didn't talk about it. So obviously, I put my 2 cents in saying that the Grizzlies roster, I think it's completely done. I think they're set on the season, but new reports have come out and basically said that Brooklyn Nets guard Cam Thomas is essentially wanting. He doesn't say he wants out, but he wants an increased role, which basically means he wants out of Brooklyn. And a lot of people on Grizzlies, the Grizzlies side of things have said that they want to explore the idea of bringing Cam Thomas on. And my thing about it is, well, before we get into that, I do want to point out that it also should be pointed out that the Grizzlies, according to a couple of sports books, have the fourth best odds to join the Grizzlies, with Detroit being the favorite and behind them being Charlotte and Chicago. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't know how I feel about Cam Thomas. And the reason I say that is because while he is a scorer, he is ball dominant. And what that means is he's not going to be quick to pass that ball. And I feel like with a guy like Ja Morant, I feel like maybe it's a risk, but it also has its benefits as well. Obviously, with a scorer like Cam Thomas, you can take the ball out of Ja Morant's hands if he's not going, and then when Jaren Jackson's not going, you can take it out of his hands, and then you give it to Cam Thomas. That seems great in hindsight, but you also have to remember that maybe that doesn't work out the best. I feel like that's just too big of a risk for them to take, and it doesn't work out as people think it is. I mean, yes, you're bringing in a great scorer, but it's just at the same time, I don't know. I feel like we're looking at the risk of it. I feel like the risk of it is just too much. And then with the direction that the team is going, I don't know if a scorer like Cam Thomas is the guy that you want on the team. Now, I'm not saying that the Grizzlies don't need a third scorer, because they absolutely do. I just don't know if Cam Thomas is the answer. And it sucks that I think this way, because I absolutely love Cam Thomas' game. I loved him since he was in LSU, and when he got to Brooklyn, when they give him a chance, he always hooped. He always balled out. I just don't know, for a team that's contending like the Grizzlies and with the needs that they need, I don't think Cam Thomas is the answer. That's just my opinion on it. I'd love to get y'all's opinion on it, because I really do feel like Cam Thomas is a big, big risk. Now, something that I don't think is as much of a risk, it's still a risk, but don't think it's much of a risk that the Grizzlies would really possibly get onto, is Nikola Vucevic. And we've talked about Nikola Vucevic before, when it came to the Grizzlies possibly getting a center. And really, it's because Nikola Vucevic, while he is getting older, we're talking about a guy who can still stretch the floor, provide you a good amount of defense, not a whole lot, but a good amount of defense. But really, it's just more so stretching the floor. Um, I don't hate the idea of it, and really, this all comes from the fact that multiple sources have said that the Bulls, specifically Yahoo Sports, the Bulls are expected to release Nikola Vucevic if a trade cannot be finalized. And honestly, I kind of expected the Bulls to move on from him, so this really isn't news to me. But a lot of people within the Grizz circle have said that Nikola Vucevic would be a great addition, and I agree. I agree. But when you sign a guy like Jock Landale already, it's kind of hard to say that Vucevic is a guy that you can bring along. That's just me being honest, because I feel like, I'm not saying the exact player, but I feel like what you can get out of Jock Landale, you could probably get more out of him than Vucevic, just because you do have that age factor to think about. So I really think that's something that people have to really remember, is that Vucevic is much older, and that plays a factor in how he is. But still a great player. Still a great player. If the Grizzlies were to decide that they want to pick up Nikola Vucevic, I am not against it at all. I just think it's not as quick as a deal as people think. That's just really my take on it. But if they brought in a guy like Vucevic, I feel like it would be good for the offense. Give a chance for a guy like Jaren to really thrive in the post, because you're stretching the floor out, and Vucevic is one of the better shooters in his position, if not one, like a top 5 shooter in his position. That's just the reality of it. But like I said, I really do think we have to look at the risk more than anything. And he really still can hoop. Like I said, I'm not against it at all. I just think with everything that has happened over the all season, the chances of getting a guy like Vucevic is very low for the Grizzlies. But we've seen crazier things, and who knows? Who knows? Now, when it comes to centers, let's stay on the subject. It has come out that the Grizzlies have signed Lawson Lovering to an Exhibit 10 deal. And he was a guy that I told y'all to watch out for, specifically in the Summer League, because I really like this game. Now, if you don't know what an Exhibit 10 deal is, basically it's a 1 year minimum salary that basically says that he's going to play for the Memphis Hustle. That's basically what an Exhibit 10 deal is. And basically, it's a training camp deal. If y'all don't know, that's literally basically what it is, and it's the possibility. It has the possibility of being converted to a 2-way contract. So, yeah, I mean, I like it because I'm not gonna say I'm big on his game, but I do like what he can bring to the court. He's a solid shooter, pretty good playmaker for his position. I will give him that. Pretty good rebounder. We didn't really get to see much of it in summer league because he just didn't get touch the court as much as I thought. But I really like Lawson Lovering's game. I think he's a very underrated player coming out of Utah. 7-1, I believe. So I think he's very underrated for who he is, and I think a lot of people will be looking out for him after training camp if the Grizzlies decide to not keep him. So I think it's worth having him around at training camp, see how he blends well with the team, and if he does well, take him over to the hustle, see how he plays there, and then we kind of go from there. I absolutely like the idea of it. Like I said, pretty big on the guy. I think he will. I think he is somebody that can pan out well. Not necessarily as a starter for right now, but definitely someone that could mesh well into a backup spot. So that's why I'm really big on him. And I think the Grizzlies, if they do choose to, they can find a way to benefit from having him on the team. But only time will tell. Like I said, he is on the Exhibit 10 deal, so one would have to only hope that it actually works out for him and the Grizzlies find another gem. Now, speaking of gems, let's talk about the Grizzlies front office. CBS Sports recently put out a ranking list of the best front offices in the league. I didn't take a full look at the list, but I do know that the Grizzlies ranked 10th in that list. And honestly, I don't hate it because the Grizzlies are a top 10 front. They do have a top 10 front office. Let's just be honest. They draft very well. Free agent wise, that's still something that they really have to work on. But bringing in Ty Jerome was a pretty big deal. Other than that, I mean, I do think the Grizzlies have a great front office and a great draft scouting team. So I think the front office rating really does. I think it fits well for them. It's not too high, and I don't think it's too low either. I think 10 is right there. It's like they're a top 10 front office with the potential to really upgrade higher up on a list. But if we're being honest, they're kind of like just in that middle spot. So I think 10 is perfect for the Grizzlies front office to be ranked at. Obviously, they could be better on a couple of things, but if we're being honest, with the team that they have and just the moves that they've made with the salary situations that they dealt with, I think this all season went fairly well. Obviously, when it comes to the front court, wish there were some things that were done differently. Obviously, I wish out of all the centers, Jacques Landale wasn't the guy that was picked up. But I mean, this is not me saying that I don't like Jacques Landale. I just have to get used to watching him play because I'm used to seeing him come off the bench, and this is somebody that we're gonna expect to go into a starting role. So that's why I'm only saying that. This is not me hating on Jacques Landale at all. I want him to pan out for the Grizzlies. I hope the Grizzlies actually end up keeping him because he plays very well. Not just with that being said, though, with the names that were on on the free agency list, we're talking about a guy like like I said, Vucevic or Miles Turner, just different guys like that. We're talking about many big names. Jared Allen was a person that is essentially on the trade block for the for the Cavaliers. So it's a lot of names that were big this offseason. And for them to come out with Jock Landale, I'm not mad at it, but at the same time, I definitely do think that could have been better. But overall, I think the signing of Ty Jerome, the trade that you got for the capital that you got for Desmond Bane alone, I think puts them up in the top 10 because 4 first-round picks is insane. And you get a guy like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I think you do good as that as well. And obviously, you didn't really do much with Cole Anthony. You bought out his contract, which cleared up space for you to sign Jaren Jackson Jr. And that's another thing. You re-sign Jaren Jackson Jr. to a deal that he likes. Then you sign Santi Aldama to a team-friendly deal. You bring Cam Spencer over. Excuse me. You bring Cam Spencer over to a fully guaranteed contract. I think the all season went pretty well for the Grizzlies, especially for them for the year that they're going for. For the year that they're going for, it went very, very well for them. So I think that's something that we really have to keep in mind. But I don't disagree with the ranking at all. I actually like it. I like that they're on that cusp of 10, and I think it should be kept that way for right now until the Grizzlies can make a move that really has us saying they're going to contend for a championship this year. Right now, this year, I got to be honest, I don't think we can say that. We can't say that until the year has started and we really have a chance to evaluate this team. Like I said, new coach, new system, new team. We really have to evaluate this and just kind of go game by game and not really jump to too many conclusions. So that's really my take on that. I really love to hear y'all in the comments and what y'all think about all of this because it really helps me understand how you all feel. So, and I love hearing multiple perspectives instead of mine. So make sure to leave in the comments how you feel about the Grizzlies front office, what they can improve on, what they're good at. Make sure to let me know. I'm all for it. But as far as this edition of Grizzlies Daily, that is a wrap. If you like this video, make sure to like. And like I said, comment. Love to hear y'all thoughts. Subscribe, turn on those post notifications so that way you get notified when the next video comes out. And that's for this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host, Malik, and I'll be signing off.